It's the question that keeps coming back. Should Australia become a republic?
Now, this week, Deputy Prime Minister Wayne Swan called on Australia to reignite the national debate on whether to keep the monarchy. So let's start that debate right here, as we like to do. We're joined by Republican author and commentator Peter Fitzsimons and by Chris Whittaker from the Australian Monarchist League. Gentlemen, good morning. Fitzy, a lot of people out there saying that we have the election obviously coming up at the moment. There are big economic issues to address. Is this the right time to tackle this?
Do we need it to be 0% unemployment? Do we need it to be the best economy ever? Can't we chew gum and walk at the same time? It's a very, very simple premise for the Republic. While a monarchy may have been fine when we were a colony and maybe even a young federation, it's the 21st century. We can do this on our own. We pride ourselves on being the most egalitarian nation on earth, and yet we've got a system of government that our head of state is from the most elitist institution on earth. We're a proudly multicultural nation, and yet the system we've got now, only an English person can be our head of state. We're a secular society, and yet we've got somebody appointed by God. I mean, please, it's the 21st century. Can we just let this go?
All right, Chris, you're a young monarchist. It's kind of a rare thing to be a young monarchist these days. Why are you so keen for us to keep a British king or queen as our head of state?
Well, yes, I am a young monarchist, and there are actually surprisingly many of us out there. It's not just a British king or queen, it's an Australian queen that we currently have. I have enormous admiration and respect for Queen Elizabeth. Her commitment to public service is just astounding, and here she is 61 years after her coronation and she's still serving the public. That's just incredible. But the real reason why we should be a constitutional monarchy and remain so is because the system works. We have our own independent nation with our own culture and identity, and being a monarchy isn't stopping that from happening.
Do you have the same level of respect for Charles? Or?
I do, actually. Prince Charles is an outstanding man. He's actually the person who raises the most money for charity every year in the world.
Go on, Fitzy.
Respectfully, it is not what is at issue here. We're not discussing that the Queen is an admirable, fine person. Good luck to her. I did but see her passing by, and yet I love her till I die, to quote Sir Robert Menzies. Charles. OK, we'll leave that one for debate. But look, let's say he's a fine man. It's not about them, it's about us. The way the system works right now is that the Prime Minister selects a Governor-General, sends out a letter to the Queen and says, this is who I want for Governor-General. I propose, and I'm not representing the Australian Republican movement, but I represent a lot of Republicans who are of the view, a minimalist change. Nothing changes except the Prime Minister selects the Governor-General. Instead of sending external mail to the Queen, what about internal mail to the Parliament to say, this is who I've chosen? We stay with the name Governor-General, we stay with the entire system. One thing changes, that the authority of our head of state rests not on the Queen by divine appointment, but to the people, the representatives of the people of Australia. Would this change some vast eternal plan, or could we, Australians, say, we'll run our own show?
Hang on, politicians are so on the nose with the public at this point in our time. Do we really want to give them any more power to rule over us?
The politicians are the representatives of the people. We're about to elect a new parliament on the 14th of September. For better or worse, for richer or poorer, they represent us. And I say, let's just say the incoming Prime Minister is Tony Abbott, just on a chance, okay? That when we got ourselves sorted, he will select, let's say he selected Angus Houston or Peter Cosgrove, or after Quentin Bryce, who's done a terrific job, the next one. Instead of writing to the Queen of England, he trusts the representatives of the people. This is not a huge power. This is the same thing as every other piece of legislation. You're the representatives of the people. Are you okay with this person doing it? Okay, it's not. And I say, a fine young man like you, why should you stand in a queue behind, the family tree of an English family in the 21st century? Why should your children, why should my children, why should any of our children? We are a meritocracy. And it's the Privy Council model to say... OK, sorry.
I will jump in there if I can. In some ways, Peter, you're absolutely right. We are egalitarian.
Cut. However,
we are an egalitarian nation, and that's a great thing. It doesn't matter if you're an ordinary person or the Prime Minister. We're all equal here. But that's one of the great things about the monarchy as well, because we're all equal under the Crown. The Crown is for everybody, and the Republicans tend to be very divisive. They say this is a more Australian argument, and you've got to support this argument.
Isn't that bleeding obvious? I mean, if you're saying an Australian argument, yeah, Well, I'm saying that one of us 25 million can be the head of state, and you're saying that it can only be the latest progeny of an English family. Well, yeah, it is a fairly Australian argument.
And it is an Australian family as well, because
Oh,
the Queen
please.
is an Australian, but more importantly, the Governor-General...
Sorry?
The Queen is an Australian.
Okay.
She is a Queen...
Come on,
Do you really?
Nicholas, please.
Absolutely, yeah.
Please, you must be. You can't.
The problem with...
Sam, please, please.
Come on,
the Queen is.
Look, I have to jump in there. I feel like I need to jump in there. So, look, I guess the problem with these Republican arguments is that they tend to be really divisive, right? Republics are on the nose. No one wants to be a Republic in Australia right now. You look at recent opinion polling, people are really comfortable with our constitutional system as it is.
About 50% of us aren't.
Young people in particular are really embracing the monarchy. So it's kind of countercultural, but you're finding that older people and younger people are really liking the monarchy and not wanting change. And that bodes well, I think, for the future.
If this were a legal case, I would just ask you to repeat that line into camera one. The Queen is an Australian, and I'll have no further questions. If you are resting your argument on that, is that what you seriously believe, that the Queen, can we repeat it? The Queen is an Australian. Is that what
She
you
does
believe?
love the common. I mean, I don't agree with you, Chris. I've said, but she does
What, have we
love
got
the
you?
Commonwealth. She does. She's,
Absolutely.
You know, but beyond the Queen, I think, you know, we're looking forward, because this is not going to happen quickly, if and when it happens.
Look,
Looking forward beyond the Queen to
Yeah.
Charles.
Certainly, and beyond Charles to Prince William. I think the monarchy has a really bright future in this country. I think we're all looking forward to Prince William and Kate's
No, we are
child.
not.
We absolutely are.
No, we are
Very
not.
exciting. Actually, 77% of Australians.
Fine young elitist people are, perhaps, and people that believe in elitism maybe are looking forward to Prince William, but the broad bulk of it, the unwashed masses, of which I represent, look, we don't want, we just want a serious system where Australians can run our own show. So 75, up until 75, Australians could appeal to the Privy Council in England, yeah? Okay, if you're not happy with what our courts decided, okay, the government shut it down and said, we can run our own show. The Conservatives were up in arm. What's happened? 40 years later, we're running our own show.
Yeah, but
I'm simply saying... No,
this
don't
is in
wind us up. We haven't
1975.
We have to wind you up. You've never finished.
We're going to have part two.
Do you want to come
I'd
back?
love to come back and do it all again.
Do you think
yeah.
the Queen's an Australian?
I don't.
Thank
Peter,
you.
no, honestly, but that's okay. But
But look, it would be very interesting. Our last referendum was in '99, and
Yeah.
I think we'll all agree
Which was
that
a
was a little
decisive
bit
defeat
skewed.
for the
Although it was a
Republic,
little bit
let's face it.
skewed. It
It was
sort
the
of choosing.
skirmish and the battle is to come.
And support
Choosing
for a
between
republic has
two.
declined since
dear.
1999
It'd be interesting to
as
see
well.
what would happen.
We've got your name after the revolution. We're coming to you.
Can you imagine
we
Peter
could-
Fitzsimons coming after you?
That's pretty frightening.
Scary.
it'll get you running, wouldn't it? Guys, thank you very much. That was a great little debate. And obviously, we're far from hearing the last of this. So we look forward to round 2, round 3, round 4, wherever we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Good
having us.
watch.
We've had a lovely time.
Thank you.